When the Twin Towers were collapsing, everyone was trying to save themselves, but Dog was saving him. This is the story of Dorado, the guide dog who led blind owner through the nightmare of 11th September. Dorado was a yellow Labrador retriever born in the late 1990s in the United States. From the first months of life, he was enrolled in a special guide dog training program. These programs meticulously select puppies with specific traits: calmness, attentiveness, intelligence, and the ability to make quick decisions in unstable environments. Dorado was taught to navigate through complex urban spaces, ignore distractions like noise, food, and enticing smells, protect his handler from obstacles, make independent decisions in critical situations, a skill known as intelligent disobedience. This last skill would one day prove to be life-saving. Omar Eduardo Rivera, a telecommunications manager, was born in Colombia and later moved to the United States in search of better opportunities. Despite losing his sight, he became a highly successful professional. However, living in New York City, a noisy, fast-paced metropolis, demanded a reliable guide. When Rivera first met Dorado, there was an immediate special bond between them. Dorado became not just a guide dog, but Rivera's eyes, his constant companion, and his trusted friend. Together they navigated Manhattan's busy streets, rode the subway, visited stores and restaurants. Dorado was patient, affectionate, yet decisive, always ready to act whenever necessary. On the morning of September 11, 2001, Rivera arrived at his office on the 71st floor of the North Tower of the World Trade Center. It was a regular workday: business calls, reports, routine tasks. Dorado lay peacefully by his side. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the building. Rivera felt the skyscraper shake violently. There was a deafening crash. Glass shattered from windows. Ceiling debris fell. The air filled with smoke and the sharp scent of burning fuel. Chaos erupted instantly. Screams, running footsteps, desperate calls for help. Trapped in total darkness, unable to see or understand what exactly had happened, Rivera realized the gravity of the situation. Evacuating from the 71st floor without sight seemed almost impossible. Thinking that Dorado had a better chance of survival on his own, removed the leash and gently urged the dog toward the exit. But Dorado didn't leave. Instead, he circled back to Rivera, licking his hands and face as if to say, "I'm staying. We will get out together." It wasn't instinct. It was a conscious choice, born from their deep bond and Dorado's lifelong training. Thus began a harrowing descent. Dorado confidently led Rivera toward the emergency stairwell. The path downward was filled with dangers. The stairwells were crowded with terrified people. Smoke filled the air, making breathing difficult. Some staircases had partially collapsed. Injured people lay scattered along the route. Rivera stumbled several times, hitting walls and tripping over debris, but Dorado patiently guided him, pausing or nudging him forward whenever necessary. People on the stairs were astonished. Amid thousands fleeing for their lives, a blind man with a guide dog moved with remarkable calm. Rivera later recalled, "I knew I could never make it without him. He didn't just lead me. He gave me the strength to go on." Every flight of stairs felt longer than the last. The smoke grew thicker, the temperature rose, and the panic around them escalated. Sometimes, Rivera could barely breathe. At times, the way forward was blocked by debris, and Dorado would skillfully find alternative paths. One particularly harrowing moment came when part of the stairwell was missing. They had to climb carefully over broken concrete. Rivera remembered, "I could feel the building trembling through my hands on the railing, but Dorado's presence gave me courage to move forward." The descent was slow and exhausting, taking nearly an hour. As they reached the lower floors, the building began to groan ominously, signaling its impending collapse. But thanks to Dorado's steady guidance, they made it outside just minutes before the tower fell. Outside, the world was unrecognizable. The streets were choked with debris. The sky was blackened with dust and smoke. Sirens screamed. People wandered in shock, covered in ash. Emerging into the street was only part of the battle. The collapse of the North Tower sent a tidal wave of dust and debris surging through the streets. Rivera instinctively crouched down, shielding Dorado with his body. In the darkness and confusion, Dorado remained Rivera's lifeline, guiding him away from the danger. Even after surviving the initial impact and descent, the ordeal was far from over. But they stayed together, one step at a time. Rivera and Dorado found refuge in a nearby store where volunteers and other survivors gathered. There, Rivera received first aid while Dorado remained faithfully by his side, resting his head on Rivera's lap. Rivera would later say, "As I sat trembling with shock, he pressed against me, warming me with his body. His breathing was the only thing that made me feel alive." What makes a guide dog choose to stay instead of fleeing danger? Experts believe that while training instills protective behaviors, acts like Dorado's go beyond commands. They stem from love, loyalty, and an extraordinary emotional bond. Dorado's choice to stay in the face of death was a testament to the unbreakable bond between human and dog. Other hero dogs of September 11th. Dorado was not the only canine hero that day. Several other dogs performed extraordinary feats, including Roselle, another guide dog who helped her blind owner, Michael Hingson, evacuate from the 78th floor of the North Tower. Salty, a Labrador guide dog, who led his owner, Omar Rivera's colleague, safely out of the South Tower. Bretagne, a golden retriever, who served as a search and rescue dog, working tirelessly amid the rubble for days. These dogs became symbols of hope and bravery during one of America's darkest days. After the attacks, Rivera struggled with survivors' guilt and post-traumatic stress. Loud noises, sirens, and even certain smells would trigger flashbacks. Through it all, Dorado stayed by his side. Although Dorado eventually retired from guide work due to age, his emotional support became even more vital. Rivera began volunteering to help train and match guide dogs with other visually impaired individuals, inspired by Dorado's heroism. He shared his story at conferences, schools, and public events, honoring his loyal friend by helping others find their own companions. Following 9/11, therapy dogs became a key part of the healing process for many survivors. Studies show that dogs can reduce anxiety and depression. Their presence helps build trust and emotional resilience. Petting a dog even lowers blood pressure and heart rate. In a sense, Dorado was Rivera's first therapy dog, long before animal-assisted therapy became widespread. His steady presence helped Rivera overcome the invisible wounds left by that tragic day. Lessons in trust and courage. A blind person's relationship with a guide dog is built entirely on trust. You entrust your life to a creature who communicates without words, relying only on body language, training, and shared understanding. In ordinary times, this bond is remarkable. In times of crisis, as on September 11th, it becomes something sacred. Dorado and Rivera's story reminds us that loyalty, courage, and love are not confined to humans. They live powerfully in the hearts of animals too. Dorado's retirement and legacy. After many years of service, Dorado retired to live peacefully with Rivera's family. He spent his days basking in the sun, enjoying walks in the park, and being surrounded by love. When he passed away, Rivera held a small private ceremony to honor him. He kept Dorado's old harness as a treasured memento, a silent reminder of the dog who had saved his life. Rivera said, "I lost friends and colleagues on that day, but Dorado was a miracle that tragedy could not take from me." Even today, Rivera continues to share Dorado's story, ensuring that his friends' courage and loyalty are never forgotten. Dorado's story is not simply about a dog, it is a story about an invisible yet unbreakable bond between human and animal, about the power of love to overcome fear, about loyalty that endures even in the face of death. In a world often marked by tragedy, stories like Dorado's remind us that miracles do exist if we are willing to see them. Dorado didn't choose to be a hero. He simply stayed. And that was enough. He walked into the smoke, the chaos, the unknown, not for glory, but for love. Because loyalty, in its purest form, has 4 legs, a wagging tail, and never lets go.